The scream cut through the afternoon like a blade, sharp and desperate, and every head at the roadside diner snapped toward it at once as a little girl came running out of nowhere, her shoes half falling off, her face soaked in tears, her small chest heaving as if she'd been running from something far bigger than her tiny body could ever escape. And when she reached the line of parked motorcycles gleaming in the sun, she didn't slow down or hesitate but threw herself toward the group of bikers. Standing there, crying uncontrollably, pointing back toward the empty road behind her as if terror itself was chasing her, and in that moment, before anyone even understood what was happening, something deep and instinctive shifted in the air, the kind of moment where ordinary life pauses and something bigger takes over. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and people stepping up when it matters most, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder that good still exists, subscribe to the channel for more stories like this, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from, because stories like this connect people across the world in ways nothing else can. The bikers weren't what most people expected heroes to look like, and that was exactly why everyone nearby froze instead of stepping forward, because men like Daniel Cross, Marcus Hale, Owen Reed, and Elijah Brooks carried the weight of hard lives on their backs, written in scars, weathered faces, and eyes that had seen too much to be easily fooled by the world, and yet when the little girl reached them, all of that melted away as if it had never existed, because fear like hers doesn't lie, and pain like that doesn't come from imagination. Her name was Lily Carter, though none of them knew it yet, and she kept repeating through sobs that he was coming, that she didn't have much time, that her mom told her to run if she ever heard the truck, and the way her hands shook when she clutched Daniel's leather vest made his stomach drop in a way he hadn't felt since the worst days of his past. Around them, the diner patrons whispered and stared, unsure whether to be afraid or relieved, because everyone had their own assumptions about bikers, but none of those assumptions mattered anymore. As the men tried to piece together what Lily meant, fragments spilled out between her sobs, enough to paint a picture that turned their blood cold, of a man who wasn't supposed to be around anymore, a man who showed up unannounced, angry, unpredictable, a man who scared her mother so badly that she taught her daughter an escape plan instead of bedtime stories, and when Marcus noticed the faint bruising on Lily's arm, half hidden beneath the sleeve of her oversized sweater, the decision was made without words, without debate, without hesitation. These men had walked away from a lot in their lives, from families, from futures, from versions of themselves they wished they could forget, but none of them were walking away from this. They moved with purpose, mounting their bikes as if answering a silent call, engines roaring to life like thunder breaking open the sky, and Lily was carefully lifted onto Owen's bike, wrapped in a jacket far too big for her but warm and safe, while Elijah stayed back just long enough to ask a diner employee to call the police, his voice calm but unyielding, because some things required both muscle and the law to handle properly. The road Lily had run from stretched ahead like a scar through the landscape, and every mile they traveled revealed more of the quiet fear that lived there, run-down houses, broken fences, the kind of place where people learned not to ask too many questions because answers could be dangerous. They found Lily's home at the end of a dirt road, small, tired, and holding itself together through sheer will, and even before they saw him, they felt him. The tension in the air thick and electric, the sense of something wrong pressing against their chests, and then the truck appeared, exactly as Lily described, idling like a threat made of metal and noise. Daniel dismounted first, not with anger but with a steadiness that came from years of learning how to stand his ground without exploding, and the others followed, forming a wall without even realizing it, a wall between fear and safety, between the past and a chance at something better. What happened next didn't need shouting or fists to be powerful. Because sometimes the most terrifying thing for someone who feeds on control is facing a group that cannot be intimidated, men who had nothing left to prove and everything to protect. And as the situation unfolded, the truth spilled out the way it always does under pressure, revealing a history of threats, restraining orders ignored, and a system that had failed a mother and her child one too many times. When the police finally arrived, the tension didn't disappear all at once, but it loosened, like a knot slowly undone, and Lily's mother, Sarah Carter, collapsed to her knees when she saw her daughter safe, alive, wrapped in the arms of strangers who felt like family in that moment. The days that followed changed more than just one life, because stories like this don't stay contained, they ripple outward, touching everyone who hears them. And the bikers kept coming back, not out of obligation, but because something had been reawakened in them, something they thought they'd lost, whether it was the ability to care deeply, to protect without violence, or to believe that they could still be part of something good. Lily started smiling again, slowly at first, then with the full, unguarded joy only a child can have when fear begins to loosen its grip, and Sarah found support she never expected from men she'd once been taught to cross the street to avoid. If this story is touching something inside you right now, if it's reminding you that compassion can come from the most unexpected places, take a moment near the end of this video to like it, share it, and subscribe, because your engagement helps these stories reach people who might need them more than you realize. And before the ending, please comment below with a simple heart or a word of encouragement, because those comments matter more than you know, not just to this channel but to the people who see themselves in stories like Lily's. In the end, there was no grand celebration, no dramatic farewell, just a quiet understanding between people whose lives had intersected for a reason, and sometimes that's the most powerful ending of all, because it reminds us that heroes don't always wear uniforms. Kindness doesn't always look the way we expect, and a little girl running in fear can change the direction of many lives simply by trusting the right strangers at the right moment, leaving all of us with the hope that when it truly matters, someone will hear the fear in our voice and choose to stand with us instead of looking away.